almost $1,352 coming in every single month from dividend income. Hey, how's it going, YouTube? So today we're going to be talking about making dividend income to be able to pay your rent. Now, obviously, this can be really different depending on where you live and how much you actually pay for rent, but I think if we go over these numbers, you can get some really good ideas of how dividend investing can have a huge impact for your financial future, maybe even pay your rent entirely, or even just at least your utility bills. That would be nice. So let's kind of go ahead, and what we're going to do is hop over here on the computer. We're going to talk about some stuff. I like to bring up my investing portfolio first and foremost, kind of take a look at see how it's doing, and kind of then go over some of these numbers we're going to be talking about here today. So this is my dividend investing portfolio. Right now we are sitting at a current value of $45,743. This is actually a little bit lower than our highest point we've been in, but I do want to show you while we go through these videos, week by week, that sometimes our portfolio goes down, sometimes our portfolio goes up, and I don't want to hide the fact that, sometimes we're in the red, and that's not fun, but it is the case. Now you can see here, over the last day, we're down about $375 in total. For the week, we're actually down to $554. So this is nothing to be discouraged about because we are long-term investing. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to dividend investing, that's pretty much all long-term, right? Like we want to, build this income for the long term, especially if we want to pay our rent. That would be really nice. You can see over here, still in the last month though, we're still doing really good. We're in the green, about $1,500. Only $20 of which has been dividends, though. If we look at the last quarter, we're still up about $1,000 with $100 in earned dividends, so that's nice. And then if we go to the year, we're still up about $6,700 with about $380 in dividends. And then if we go to our all-time, we're still up almost $7,500 with about $450 in earned dividends. And I just like to point those pieces out, obviously, as we continue to grow this. I did start this portfolio with $100 in my account, so if you're somebody who's looking at these numbers and it's like, whoa, that's a lot of money, you can start off really small too. $100 is what you need to open up an account with M1 Finance. And if you want to, I will have a link for you in the show notes down below. You can open up your own account, put $100 in, and then get started. They do have a promotion with using my link where if you put in, I believe, $1,000, you get a $30 bonus, which is nice for you. Help support out the channel as well, so you get more free content just like this. But nonetheless, get started with that link down below if you would like to. But let's go ahead and kind of talk about making this dividend income for the long term to be able to pay our rent. Like that would be really nice. Like, wouldn't you be excited to not have to worry about rent, or your mortgage or anything else, because your dividends are paying for your house? Now let's go ahead and what we're gonna do is talk about a very popular dividend monthly paying stock, which is Realty Income. So a lot of people know this stock. This stock is really, really popular. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit here. Hopefully I don't cut anything off while we go through this. So Realty Income, right now, it's currently at $69.56. So you can see it's had some really good performance over the last year. So what we want to do is kind of look at this, and we're going to plug these numbers into a calculator and then kind of go from here to get some really good ideas of what we have available for us and how much we might need to put towards rent or mortgage or anything else. Now, what we're going to first and foremost try to achieve is $1,000 a month in dividend income to be able to pay your mortgage or rent, because maybe $1,000 might be a pretty substantial amount to be able to pay towards it. Maybe not the whole thing, but still a really good amount. And $1,000, it's nothing to scuff out about, right? And that's a huge goal. So what we're going to look at is with Realty Income, its current dividend yield is 4%, well, 4.06%. And what that pretty much means is that's how much we are going to get paid out per year annually when it comes to the dividend. Now, they do pay out on a monthly basis. So with 4% or 4.06%, that comes out to annually $2.83 per share that you own of this stock. Now, since they do it on a monthly basis, that's 24 cents. And you might be thinking, 24 cents, that seems like nothing, especially when you have to put down almost $70 to get that 24 cents. So let's kind of break some of this stuff down. The first and foremost thing that we want to pay attention to is the payout ratio. Now, payout ratio for this is 83%, and if you've watched other videos before on this channel, we've talked about how usually 60% is kind of like the industry goal to be able to hit, and what this is saying is that the company is paying out 83% of its profits into the dividends. Most of the time at 83%, it's starting to look a little scary for companies, but when it comes to realty income and other REITs, which is focused on real estate, 83% is actually solid. Some of these companies actually are required to pay out a larger sum than a regular stock would. So something to keep in mind. So that is actually not a bad sign right over here with realty income. So just, keep that at the back of the mind over there. And then our growth rate on average has been 3.79% over the last 5 years, although the last 2 years or so has been closer to about 2%. This is anytime a dividend increase happens, which is a really cool thing where companies pay you more every single month or quarter, however often they pay, they actually increase the amount. And with realty income, it's quite literally like tenths of a penny sometimes. But that can really add up, especially if you start building up your amount that you have. And then they've been growing that dividend for over 24 years. So one more year and they become a dividend aristocrat. And that's a really big deal because it's a really hard thing to hit. 25 years of constant growth is huge. And like I said, they pay out every month. They usually pay out on the around the 15th. So you can see the next payout here is on the 13th of the following month. But that just really depends on, where the 15th lands for that next month. So we're going to take some of these numbers and we're going to go ahead and plug them into our dividend calculator. And let's kind of get an idea of how this is going to work out. So we're going to go with a portfolio right over here. It's going to be just a regular portfolio. We're going to start with $1,000. So hopefully if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I'm going to invest $1,000. I'm going to put it in. Open up that account with the link down below with M1 Finance. Put in that $1,000, plus you get that $30 bonus and get started. So that's what we're going to do with this example here. We're going to start with $1,000 in our principal. Now our annual dividend yield, because we're just going to focus with this one company, which I usually don't recommend focusing with just one company. Being diverse is better, but this is just the example. We're going to do this. It's going to be 4.06%. So 4.06% right over here. It's going to ask if we're on a taxable account. So if this is a retirement account, this will be different. But for this example, we're going to say yes. Annual contributions, this is the part that really matters. This is the part that it's going to say, okay, how much you're going to be able to put in every single month. Now, this is for every single year. But keep in mind that if you're trying to get $1,000 a month right now, you're going to have to put in a lot of money. I think if I did the math correctly, I'm pretty sure it's like $300,000 today. Like you'd have to put it in today to be able to get $1,000 a month. So let me just double check here. But what we're trying to do is see if we can do it in like the next 5-10 years or so. But let me just get an example here. So if we put in $300,000 today at 4.06 annually, that would be $12,180. So yes, if you put in $300,000, you can get $1,000 a month today. But that's not feasible for most people, right? Like most people can't just take $300,000 and just dump it into the market. So we want to be a little bit more realistic here. So let's say you could put in $1,000 a month every month for the year. So that's $12,000 annually. Now, right over here, it says expected annual dividend increase per year. This was that number we talked about earlier. That was 3.79%. It has been a little lower recently, but we're going to just kind of go around 3% that it's going to grow annually. And then it says distribution frequency. We're going to go monthly. And again, the cool thing is too, you can go ahead and jump onto this website too and plug in your own numbers if you want to try it out. Like I said, your rent or mortgage might be different. So something to keep in mind. Dividend rate right here, we're going to leave at 15% for now. And then expected annual share price appreciation per year. This one, depending on, if you really care about the principal or if you really want to just focus on dividends. Right here, it's set for 3%. If we go back to realty income, obviously the last year is pretty skewed here. You can see the last 5 years, it's actually down 0.4%, which is kind of crazy. And then 10 years, it's up 100%. So it's really kind of all over the place there, to be honest. So we're going to leave that at 3%. We're not focused on the principal. We're focused on the dividends that it's going to give us over time. And then the last set right over here, you're going to see it says DRIP. This stands for Dividend Reinvestment Program. This means that anytime you get paid out these dividends, early on, you're going to have them reinvested back into the portfolio so that they can buy more shares of the companies and then get more dividends long term. It's a really cool feature, and that's how compounding really takes into effect for the long term. So we're going to go for 10 years. So we're going to say in 10 years, we want to have enough dividends to pay us $1,000 a month to pay our rent, our mortgage, whatever the case may be. Ideally, one of those two things would be phenomenal. So let's see if this works out. If it doesn't, we can mess around with the numbers. I actually haven't even done this before. I just I wanted to kind of do this in real time and kind of see how this all plays out. So we're going to have an ad that pops up here in just a sec. So you're going to see here, our total ending balance after 10 years is $170,000, which is fantastic. And you can see here our annual dividend income is $9,494. So this is shy of $1,000 a month within 10 years to hit this goal, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, getting $9,494 a year in dividend income is pretty substantial, right? Like if we break this down and then divide that by 12. So remember, because they pay out on a monthly basis, we're getting almost $800 a month, so close. So remember, the way this worked was we were putting in $1,000 to begin, and then we were putting in $1,000 a month. Now let's go ahead and say, we really want to try to get this within the 10 years. So let's just go ahead and say that we can do $1,400 a year. So just a little bit more every single month than $1,000. Now, before we continue on, I actually want to help you save more money today, so that way you have that money in your pocket to be able to invest more for the long term. So I actually want to talk to you about our friends at Earnest, where they can help you refinance your student loans entirely for free. You have a possibility to actually lower your interest rates, so that way you have more money in your pocket today to invest more for the long term. Invest in these long-term dividend investments that we talk about. Now, student loans are entirely free to refinance with Earnest, but if you wanted to, it only takes you 2 minutes to be able to go through the process and actually check out your rates. I'll have a link for you in the show notes down below. It'll take you to a page that looks exactly like this. And if you actually check out that link, you can get a $100 bonus for going through my link and supporting out the channel, so you get more free content just like this. So check out that link, refinance your student loans, and use that extra money if you wanted to put towards your dividend investing. See how this looks out for us. So it brings us up to $11,000 every single year, which is still close, but not close enough. So let's kind of just keep bumping this up. Oops, that just does it a little bit. So let's do 1,600. I think 1,600 a year might give us what we are looking for. So that actually goes a little bit over. So let us actually, how does this look here? So $15,000 a year. This is getting us way closer at $11,840. So I'm going to plug this number in one more time, and let's see if this changes it just enough. Okay, perfect. So this says that if we put in $15,500 a year, so 15,500 divided by 12. So if we can put in $1,300 a month away, in 10 years, we would be making $1,000 a month pretty much indefinitely. Now, obviously, that could be a little bit troublesome for some people to be able to put that much money down every single month into investments. But if you are patient, if you are diligent, you will see the impact of that actually happening. But here's a really important thing. I got to actually move my mouse here. I went to a different setting. But here's an important thing. If that's not feasible for you to put in that much money every single year, I understand that, right? So let's say we can only put in $8,000 a month. Obviously, it's going to take us longer. So let's say we can do this in 15 years. So we have to, change the numbers around a little bit too. And keep in mind, just because you might not be able to do, $12,000 a year, $1,000 a month today, doesn't mean that you can't work hard for it, build up an income, and do it in a couple of years, and then get past that as well too. So you might be able to only do $100 a month right now, but that's better than not getting started whatsoever. So right over here, you can see if we did $8,000 a year, so that breaks it down even more for us, but we waited 15 years, we would actually be almost $14,000 annually in dividend income, and that comes out every single month for us, remember, because it's not a quarterly dividend, it's a monthly paying dividend. And then that way you can use that $1,000+ a month to be able to pay your rent, to be able to pay your mortgage or other bills if you wanted to, or you can have it reinvested back into the portfolio, which is also a beautiful thing. And your ending balance would be about $214,000, give or take. Now, again, these numbers can be moved a little bit more if you can't even do the 8,000. That's fine. Let's say you can only do, $500 a month, and then let's say we take this to 18 years. So if we do it this way, obviously that's going up even higher. So in 18 years, you would have about $16,000 a month, $16,000 annually coming in, and then you divide that into a monthly amount. So if we do 16,232 divided by 12, you would be looking at almost $1,352 coming in every single month from dividend income, which again you can use to pay your mortgage, to pay your rent, to pay anything else that you want to, pay for. But it takes patience and it takes effort to be able to get to this position, because you have to start investing today. Even if you can't put in that full total amount every single month, just start something now, get it going, so that way it can start compounding and working for you for the long term. Now, what I want you to do is actually check out this next video right over here so you can keep on learning more about dividend investing, because the more you learn, the more you can continue to grow. My name is Dennis, and I'll see you in that next video.